All right, top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. A moment of silence for all those who have lost their lives. You see the title. Hello, everybody, to the Bushwatchers, onlookers, bypassers, and regular supporters. You see the title. Let's get to this really quick. Let's get to some music, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Therefore, we won't be on super long tonight, and hopefully everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation that they are in. Remember, we are still in a pandemic, but if we can look up, we can get up. If we can get up, we can go up.
You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out.
Talk to him.
You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on the court from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers. They still doing that. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lights of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if you finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Yes. Yes. Bill, Heron, Scott. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be live. All right, again, hopefully everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation that they are in. You see the title, but let's remember this. If we can look up, we can get up, we can get up, we can go up. With that being said, remember, we are still in a pandemic. Senators, y'all testing positive for coronavirus. Now, senators testing positive for coronavirus after that celebration fest of trying to confirm a Supreme Court justice, which I don't agree with at all, her history and her stanza on issues and her not supporting the Affordable Care Act. Now, some people may say, well, whatever. Oh, no, it's more than just a whatever. Simply because within the Affordable Care Act, remember, pre-existing conditions are covered. So people who have pre-existing conditions before can now get their conditions covered under the Affordable Care Act, whereas before the insurance companies could deny them, refuse them. Hospitals hospitals, especially private hospitals and the like, will now, with the Affordable Care Act, which is still being litigated in the court of law, per this Justice Department, trying to have it stripped away. She's one of those Supreme Court justices that doesn't believe in the Affordable Care Act. So we definitely want to, hey, Free Games, how you doing? We definitely want to make sure that we are paying attention to things like that. All right, so I definitely wanted to go over that before we start talking about these senators testing positive in the rest of the news. And let me pause that there. All right, Jennifer, Jill, here and Scott, I can hear you. Let me do the screen share on this. And again, hopefully everybody's been doing the best that they can in the situation that they are in. Remember, we're still in a pandemic, so we need to do everything necessary to preserve our lives. Hey, Andre, how you doing? All right, so let's get to this. Senators, what's at the bottom? Senators, 3 GOP senators, y'all testing positive for coronavirus. Mitch McConnell reschedules floor activity as multiple GOP senators test virus. Excuse me, people, we are still in a pandemic. This is not a joke. It wasn't a joke when the Spanish flu hit 102 years ago, and it is not a joke now. So let's make, the thing about this is, with them testing positive, they need a quorum to confirm the little Miss Missy Moo they're trying to confirm as judge. They need a quorum, okay? So if they're all testing positive and they don't have the quorum, they can't vote to confirm her. Now, all the Democratic Party needs to do is stay at home and not show up, so they don't have a quorum to push this lady through, who they are trying to confirm to be Supreme Court Justice. Again, she is anti the Affordable Care Act, which covers pre-existing conditions, as well as people having the freedom and choice and liberties to choose. Now, I don't care what God they claim they rocking with. The God that I serve does not force his will upon anybody. He gives everybody a free will. Therefore, you can freely make any decision you want to make. You just have to stand behind your decision, and you'll be standing on your own. Yeah, hi, Andre. How are you? And Free Games, how y'all doing? And to the people in the bushes. All right, so let's get these disclaimers out of the way. I don't want to be on a long tonight, so let me do the share. Apologies for any loud clicks in the background. Again, senators have tested positive. That can work out to be advantageous for those of us who believe in not violating, those who believe in the Affordable Health Care Act and believe that people's choice are their choice, and whatever they choose, they got to stand behind it and be responsible and accountable for their own actions. And I'm all right. All right. So info news updates, Breonna Taylor. Has anybody still been listening to the tapes that I dropped the other day in the other live? The audio about the Attorney General from the grand jury, where the Attorney General was answering some questions for the police that the police should have answered for themselves. As you go on and you listen to that audio, and the NFAC did show up in Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna do a flashback. You know over here how we get down. We gotta put some perspective on it. But remember to vote. We are in an election season. Okay, some viewers may find the content graphic or disturbing. Viewers' discretion and parental consent is advised. Again, viewers' discretion and parental consent. Go get your parent. Hey, Dre Day, how you doing? Viewers' discretion and parental consent is advised. All right. Again, people, let's remember to vote. Let's remember to vote. I was speaking with a family member earlier, and we were talking about the deception and people not participating in the voting process, and people not having enough information or being educated about the power of the vote, the why of the vote, and why they need to run for the offices to rock the vote, to legislate, okay? Because we've been getting our heads, I like to say it, legislated to the white meat, and we will continue to get our heads legislated to the white meat until people start voting, running for the offices, finishing their education so they can be the prosecutor that brings the charges, running for the offices so they can be the judges presiding over cases, running for the office so they can be the congressman or the woman up in the White House legislating at a federal level. We will continue to get our head pen whooped and pencil whooped in legislation to the white meat until we start actively engaging holistically overall. And again, political parties are not the end. They are just the means to an end. And over here, you already know where I stand. I'm an independent. Like I said, political parties is just the means to an end. But we need to participate. All right. All right. So let's flash back before we get into the NFAC showing up to Lafayette, Louisiana. And Louisiana is my dad's home state, as well as my grandparents, his mom and his dad home state, as well as my aunts and my uncles. And shout out to my first cousins, my uncles and my aunts that preside in Louisiana. Shout out to all of you all. Plenty much love to my family. All right, so let's flash back. Let's go through something. Okay. It was not without purpose that NFAC showed up to Louisiana, okay? But let's flash back, because like I said, this is my dad's home state and my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents. Okay, can we flash back to 1811, the slave rebellion? Can we go back? We always like to flash back and walk it up real quick over here. We're gonna do it whether you want to or not. The uprising began on the grounds of the plantation owned by Mule Andre on the east side of Mississippi. In that region called German Coast of Louisiana, there was a slave driver named Charles of Haitian descent, and I'm skipping through in the article, led a small band of slaves into a mansion of plantation owners where they wounded Aubrey, killed his son, Gilbert, and then the group armed themselves with muskets and ammunitions from the plantation basement. Some Don Aubrey militia uniforms. Okay, so they got the uniforms, they got the guns. Remember, this is the slave rebellions of Louisiana. So when I get to what Congressman Clay Higgins said, it's gonna make, I'm putting perspective on it, because I always like to look at stuff from a historical perspective. Okay, so when he came out, and we're gonna get to his clips, you know I got him, and tweeted what he tweeted or posted what he posted on whether it was Facebook or wherever. It was totally disrespectful. And the reason you don't do that in a state that had slaves is because of the history. It's just downright disrespectful. You don't come out and threaten a group of US citizens who have a right to be free and exercise the fullest extent of the Constitution. You just don't do it. It was just downright tacky. So Charles knew the uniforms would lend the revolt authority, welding their struggles with imagery of Haitian Revolution, whose leaders had famously adopted European military garb, reports historian Daniel was reporting in his book on American Uprising, the Untold Story of America's Largest Slave Revolt. Okay. Charles was inspired by Haitian Revolution, and which happened and succeeded less than decades before the Louisiana revolt happened. So again, they took authority over the slave master house. This is 1800s, and they started burning down plantations. took out the family, got the ammo, got the weapons, and unfortunately, remember, they chopped their heads off and stuck slave heads in Louisiana, stuck the slave heads in Louisiana on sticks to say to the rest of the slaves, okay, they did that there. They burnt up this resources. They burnt up this resources that they weren't working for in the first place. And I'm talking about the slave owners, that they was too lazy to work for because they was not tilling their own ground and their own land that they didn't work for. Okay, so when they caught some of them, they chopped their heads off to say, listen, we need y'all to stay in your place, stay in place. We need you to stand down, stay in your place, stay in order, because if y'all try this again, we already showed you what was going to happen, but more slave rebellions happen. Okay, it was a strong people. So I want to walk that back. Okay, I want it to flash back. Now let's walk it up. Now, Clay Higgins, being a representative, a congressman from Louisiana, the disrespect. It was about the disrespect. You are from Louisiana, a slave state, a state, where slave ships were brought in and a bunch of slaves. Those you captured from Africa. Those ships were over there again. 4 feet on the slave ship. The men all in there together. No bathroom, not free to move around, urinating, bowels being released, had to eat there and different things. Like, so it is downright disrespectful for him to open up his mouth, knowing the history of the United States of America, and to threaten, especially coming from Louisiana, especially coming from the state that my father came from, to threaten U.S. citizens and African-American U.S. citizens. Downright disrespectful. So Captain Clay Higgins, what he called himself, and this is a congressman who's supposed to be representing U.S. citizens. Are you going to represent just the Caucasian U.S. citizens, or are you going to or is he there to represent all U.S. citizens, including African-American U.S. citizens? This right here was out of order. And remember, on that video, which YouTube, I'm battling with them to put it back up there, and I said Clay Higgins, he need to shut his stupid mouth, and I still agree with what I said then. Should have kept his stupid mouth shut. It's certain, and I only use that word certain times. I don't use it in every instance. But for this right here, I meant what I said. All right. So he posted this on his social media weeks back. Remember this? He posted pictures of the NFAC, and he posted pictures of another militia, whoever this is at the bottom. But at the top is definitely the NFAC. All right. Look, fair warning, if this shows up, we'll consider the armed presence a real threat. We being we, the people of Louisiana. One-way ticket, fellas. Have your affairs in order. So here he is. He posted their pictures, running off at his mouth. No one was saying anything to him. He was not being provoked into saying anything. He, as a congressman who was very tacky, out of order, disrespectful, started running his mouth about African-American people and U.S. citizens. And again, I would like to remind everybody, these are U.S. citizens exercising their constitutional rights. He started running off at his mouth. Very tacky and disrespectful, coming from a congressperson. Extremely tacky and disrespectful. Okay, and I wouldn't spill my beer. I dropped the 10 of you where you stand, because some of we, like me, we are SWAT. So what you saying? And he just goes on and on and on, belligerently, distastefully, you know, continues to write and write and write. So your mother's a cry, then he's using all type of profanity. You're the ones threatening. If you show yourselves up aggressively natured, armed in my presence, in my neighborhood where I work, anywhere close enough to put my family or fellow citizens in danger, that's where your journey will end fast. How fast? 1,450 miles per second fast. So talking all that trash, disrespect, just giving some history on what happened. Okay, so I have audio of when, right, spirit and disrespect. So I have the audio of when Congressman Clay apologizes to Grandmaster Jay, and then he goes back and he backpedals. So I had that article up here too. Congressman Clay Higgins says the report of him issuing an apology to the NFAC representative John J. Fitzgerald Johnson are false, but no, we got the audio. So no, it wasn't false. And for those who don't know, Grandmaster Jay ran as an independent presidential candidate over 4 years ago. He was one on there. Remember, it was Jill Stein. It was a host. It was at least 16 other candidates that you would not have known about if you were not into politics like that. Like I knew about it. I knew he ran. I knew Jill Stein was running. I knew the other ones were running because you pay attention to everybody who's on the ballot and everybody who wants to be written onto a ballot. You just got to pay attention to what's going on. Okay. So, hey, Mac, how you doing? Good to see you, Mac. So, given the backstory again of Louisiana and Congressman Clay representing Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, talking all this trash. But let's get to when Congressman Clay calls the NFAC leader and issues an apology and then walks his statement back. So that's what we're getting ready to listen to right now. Disclaimer, parental consent is necessary. Content may be too graphic, profanity may be used. I don't know in its entirety what's going to be said, but again, parental consent, viewers' discretion is advised.
Call us if you potentially provide your number, just for me to make an initial outreach contact. With what I had envisioned, what the Lord had put on my heart, was for you and I to perhaps have a private man-to-man. It could be in public, but just you and I sitting down and where I could respectfully listen to your position and your grievance, which you have the right to air. And we would let the Lord guide us. So that was my intention for the outreach. There's a lot of moving parts to this thing, and I understand that. However, it was important that I made the contact with you as soon as I could. And I received your number just about, less than an hour ago. I got to a place where I could call you. I made cast my first vote of the evening, and so here we are.
Well, Congressman, I want to thank you for finding it in your heart to not find it robbery to give me a call and us to finally talk one-on-one. As a citizen of the United States, you can imagine my concern that someone such as yourself, who has an illustrious history of supporting the Second Amendment and also sworn to uphold the Constitution, could find ourselves being human in the end. I would hope that you and I could sit down, as you say, man to man, and find it within our perspectives to come to some form of a mutual agreement that will be beneficial to the both of us, because I do believe that we're all human and we make mistakes. that we atone for those mistakes, but we also remember that because we're both public figures, and you, sir, are very public as I am, that we have a responsibility to our constituents to allay any concerns and show that there is some potential of unity at some point in the future, if not achievable today. I think that you, being a sitting congressman, will agree with me that it is in the best interest of both our communities that you and I do, in fact, not only privately sit down from one soul to another, but that publicly we give some display that we have, in fact, met and have come to a conclusion that this is something we can get past, and that our people can begin to look forward to hope. I would hope that you would agree with me, Congressman.
I pretty much concur with you. It's almost like I wrote what you just said. So I believe, quite frankly, that even when gentlemen of solid core principles disagree, we still find the very common thread that weaves us as children of God together as one and as equals in the eyes of God. That we are men of principles, and when we take, as men that have a tendency to speak candidly, it's very easy to speak scripted and controlled, and you got 5 or 6 people telling you exactly what to say and when to say it, when to say nothing. I'm quite sure that every man that has been honest and outspoken and candid has been, through the course of his life, misunderstood or purposefully misreported. Now, perhaps you've been victim of that. I know that your organization was initially portrayed as violent, and that there was a lot of confusion about who was representative of your organization. I readily admit that I didn't get it. I mean, I wasn't tuned in to the level that some Americans were about what NFAC was and the type of gentleman that you are. That was an understanding I think the world has clarified, myself being no exception to that, over the course of the last couple of weeks. And when it was made clear to me by others, in my love and respect, that they themselves had come to understand the nature of your character, and you conveyed some things that were very impressive to me, just as a man, regarding your calm, poised approach to this very volatile situation. It's not just Lafayette, and so our nation needs healing right now. So somehow, you and I find ourselves at a focal point, and I believe it's incumbent upon us to at least try to extend the gestures of love and peace, and have some private moments together where we can share our reflections and our visions for a hopeful future, and hopefully to submit ourselves to the Lord's will together. That's my intent, and I listen carefully as good as I can. I'm getting old now. I don't hear like I used to, especially with a lot of background noise, but what you stated just a few moments ago, although I could not repeat it verbatim, I believe I heard you, Lima Charlie, and I would say I concur with everything that you said.
Okay, and I'm gonna stop that right there. And let's go back and read. Now, he did all that concurring, and we'll meet, and then he backpedaled. Okay, now several news outlets have this same article, not word for word, because different writers write differently, but the substance of the article is there. The fact that Congressman Clay reports issue says it's false. No, we just heard you, Congressman. It wasn't false that you issued an apology. That wasn't false. We just heard you. Okay. So he started backpedaling on the meeting together and different things like that. But the NFAC showed up in Lafayette, Louisiana today, regardless. Okay, let's go back one to where this is Congressman Clay with the threat. Okay, let me turn my pointer on. So this is his threat. Okay, all up in here, he was threatening. Go all up in here, talking about he ain't gonna spill the beer. He'll take 10 people out. One hand, your mother's gonna be crying. Don't show your worthless biggity blanks up. And then fast forward, we just heard him apologize. And then let's get to the article where he's saying he didn't apologize. Those comments were made in a Facebook post concerning protesters in which he stated, if this shows up, we'll consider you. And we just read over that such and such and such and such, you know, drop you where you stand, so on and so forth. Then he comes out and said it was false. In a statement, Higgins says that during it was intended as a private conversation, as he extended a diplomatic gesture to meet with Johnson in person, but did not apologize for his previous comments. And as you go on to listen to all of it in its entirety, you did some apologizing, Higgins. I don't care how you slice it and dice it. And then he backpedaled and walked it back. Okay. So he invited Johnson to his home to speak and said he would attend the NFAC march on Saturday in downtown Lafayette. Well, he didn't show up. As far as I could see from those who were streaming it, he didn't show up. Started backpedaling. Now, another reason for the NFAC showing up is you all remembered a few weeks back, the African-American gentleman who we showed walking away from the police in Louisiana, 31-year-old, who allegedly they said had a knife, but we don't know whether he had a knife or not, was doing everything he could, and he was walking miles to get away from the cops because somebody said, oh, he got a knife. And the police allegedly was trying to arrest him, and he was moving away. He had walked a couple of miles to get away from them, ended up shooting him and murdering him. So that's one of the reasons they were there too, in addition to some other things, you know, having the right to exercise their constitutional right. So, yeah, hi, P. Legal. Yeah, and P. Legal, he should have been censored a long time ago from the Congress because of his reckless behavior in his mouth. So the bottom line is, and this is from the source of video, shout out to K Money Spoken Word. This is her live video. This comes directly from her channel that I am getting ready to show. NFAC information in Lafayette, Louisiana, and they there. He told them not to show up and all that. And then he said in a report that he didn't apologize for that when they showed up. All that shooting 10 with a beer in his hand, they showed up. In addition, for other reasons, they showed up. And all that talk, all that kumbaya, throwing the Lord's name out and all that, they love to do that. People love to lie on the Lord that they serve and they represent. Well, you know, God, no, don't bring God into it. Don't bring God into it. He ain't got nothing to do with this foolishness people be down here doing, and they always want to bring God into it. Well, you know, as they believe we can sit down. No. No, sir. Don't come lie on the Lord that you say you represent. Your Lord told you to do that? Your Lord told you to sit up there and write all of that to a group of U.S. citizens exercising their constitutional rights, and then sitting on there, and I would hope as man of the faith and God. No, no. See all that deflecting and trying to pull in God. No, no, absolutely not. But he didn't show up. He didn't keep his word. A person's word is their bond. If you don't keep your word, you ain't worth the salt and savor. You ain't worth 2 dead flies. Period. Hi, Carolyn. How you doing? So here we go. And I'm going to go past some of this because during the live stream, it was, they was trying to shut the live stream down. They was trying to shut certain people live streams down or whatever. But they showed up. Lafayette. Clay Higgins didn't show up. But again, it goes back to Congress people talking recklessly with their lips, especially in a southern state. Just distasteful all the way around. Never should have happened. Like, what don't you understand about the history of Louisiana and African American people? Like, who don't understand that history? Who don't know that it runs deep there?
Actions.
Look at them.
Me pull up with the ratchets.
That's not my music I'm playing.
Down again.
On my neck, all on my wrist, all over the diamonds, stay flashing.
Hey,
you know I do this with a passion.
This is music K Money is playing in the background.
yeah.
Cause I've been going through some shit. I miss my bitch. I swear to
Okay,
God,
let
she
me
a
fast
bad
forward
one.
past that because y'all know I don't believe in calling females out of their names. I ain't with it, but that's music she's playing.
Check one.
And the reason she was playing different music is to drown out all the background noise.
I can't have that. No, we good. He need to move his transmitter, bro. Your transmitter. Move your transmitter, bro. That's why it's cutting off on me, okay? Lafayette. Bro, come on. You got to be better than that, bro. This is what I told you. I don't do this nowhere. You get this shit together. You had all day know we was coming. And if you gave me that broke mic, give me that one you got right there laying on the ground.
Disclaimer. I did my disclaimer. Graphic.
NFAC, where you at? Make some intercept.
They up in there thick. They was up in there thick.
You got me wrong.
They up in there deep.
Am I good?
Deep tonight, today, and Congressman Clay Higgins, he didn't show up. It was other leaders there or representatives there. You know, some were speaking, and somebody ended up getting accosted and arrested, a 26-year-old from Lafayette, Louisiana. for misfiring his weapon, and he shouldn't have had it because he was a felon. It had nothing to do with the NFAC. He was not part of their formation, and he's not part of the NFAC. He was accosted and arrested earlier while they were checking people in, and people were registering and different things like that. So police arrested him, unfortunately. Now, again, because in Louisiana, they are very detailed. What I've noticed about the NFAC is they're very detailed when they go into these states. They like to know the gun laws in great detail. And so if that gun is not acceptable there, if you can't carry that there, they let their members know this is what's allowed, this is not allowed. If you're a felon, you already know. OUT out, you got to get your record expunged first. So unfortunately, a 26-year-old was arrested, and he had a felony on his record, but he's from Lafayette, Louisiana. And I'm sure he was aware of what the laws were. And so, again, it had nothing to do with the NFAC. Before people come out and tell that lie, I'm aware of that. So let's get that out the way. Right, Mac. The police kill for no reason. And they can say it's the law that tells them to do that. And it's just a lie. It's just a lie. So I'm going to go forward and listen to a little bit. Okay, I don't care about this I don't care about this. The news keep posting the congressman that was texting somebody else on his wife that's a Democrat. So what? I don't care. You got a cheater in the White House. So you're always trying to be in somebody. Again, let me get back on focus and on topic that we discussing over here. Congressman Clay Higgins. Again, I didn't change what I said. I'm going to stick to what I said at the beginning. You need to shut your stupid mouth. You never should have opened up your mouth to say anything about people exercising their constitutional rights. This right here, let me go back. Let me go back to this post. This right here, posting them on your Facebook page, was out of order. See, we didn't need to pontificate about who you were talking about. You posted it. You posted images of who you were talking about. And you said what you said. Then we come here and you start vacillating, saying you didn't apologize. And the video is up with Grandmaster Jay on there recording everything you said. And rightfully so. Lest you lie. Then we come here to Lafayette, Louisiana. They showed up. It goes back to the old phrase, don't be out there writing checks with your mouth that your behind cannot cash. And then he starts slanging the Lord this and the Lord that, and, you know, God this and God that. That mess don't fly over here, period. Now, over here, we believe in self-defense. You threaten us or our persons, we have a right to defend ourselves, and we do such by any means necessary. We're not going to poke at you. We're not going to prime at you. We're going to say what we're going to say and keep it moving. But we're not going to directly threaten you for no reason. We ain't threatening you at all. Period. That ain't the way we rock over here. But we do believe in self-defense over here. 1,000,000%. By any and all means necessary. Clay Higgins, Congressman, you were out of order. You should have shut your stupid mouth from the beginning. Downright tacky, distasteful, and then you tried to walk some stuff back. It's too much going on in the land. It's too much going on. We're not going to have African-American kids timid and scared by what the police is doing and nobody else. And definitely should never came from an old racist congressperson and people. Again, I would like to admonish everybody, we're in the voting season, and this is why you either need to run for the office. I know you need to vote, but you need to start running for these positions. So you can be that legislator, so you can be that one. Getting this foolishness out the way. Okay. So. Congressman Higgins was known as a Cajun John Wayne and very intimidating cop. Oh, wow. Right. They're never reprimanded like they should be. We say it over here all the time. We've been saying it for years. Who polices the police? How you give somebody 12 minutes? Oh, you talking about Breonna? If nobody's guilty, right? Right. So again, then Nfac showed up in Lafayette, Louisiana. And as we get ready, because I said it wasn't going to be long, and I'm not. Let's just walk back through the videos real quick. One of the reasons I'm not going to be long is because I'm hungry. So I'm getting ready to get off here and eat. But let's go back to the beginning. Breonna Taylor, Attorney General, did not. He was answering questions for the police. He was answering for the police. When you go back and you start listening to the clips, as muffled and as distorted as they are in their entirety, he's answering questions. They are answering, him and his office are answering questions before the grand juror that the police should have been answering. So that's downright tacky too. But we already know what I said about Cameron, and I'm not walking nothing back that I say. No kumbaya, no apologies, nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, if he has a paradigm shift that can be validated, confirmed, and watched for years, then I can take him out the Uncle Tom category. But until then, he will remain there. Simple. When it's time for justice, we didn't need him to sound like Mitch McConnell. We needed him to be a voice of justice, period. And people forget this. As I conclude tonight, let me say this: a little leaveneth, a whole lump. People forget that. If you do it to one ethnic group, you will do it to another. So when people stand on the sidelines and say, oh, that's just happening to Black people. Y'all Black people shouldn't be doing this. You should just comply. Y'all should do this. Y'all should do that. You come up with every excuse under the sun. Oh, don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. A little leaveneth the whole lump. If that is in that person, they're going to do it to other ethnic groups too. It's just a matter of time. Just keep on living. Like my grandmother, like one of my grandmothers used to say, just keep on living, sit back and watch. Watch how it shifts. Watch how it changes. And for Congressman Higgins and other NFAC members or whoever, whatever, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. When Congressman Clay came out there and wrote all that mess, that's who he was. Believe it. Believe it. And then he got on the phone talking about God, 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 and commonality and trying to find some common ground and commonality. No, bro, that's who you are. That's who you are. You've shown nobody any paradigm shift or transformation in character or person. So we believe that that post, that's you. That's your character. That's you. That's exactly how you felt. That's why you did not show up. That's why you vacillated. And then whatever other issues you got going on, you should not be a representative, period. Simple. Now, with that being said, for the rest of us, remember, we are still in a pandemic. Trump tested in his household, who was mocking, playing fun and playing games with the pandemic, have tested positive for the pandemic. So the rest of us who have been sheltering in place and wearing masks and so on and so forth will continue to do so. And let's remember this: we can look up, we can get up, we can get up, we can go up. Let's give us some music. That was just some updates that I wanted to get to, especially from a U.S. representative, a congressman, and senators who have tested positive for COVID-19, who was playing around in a rose garden, hugging each other without masks on because they was happy about a judge who they thought they were going to get confirmed, that they were going to confirm and vote for and just push on through there, where they got COVID-19 now. Let's stop playing these games. We are still in a real pandemic. So let's do what we need to do to take care of us and to take care of our health. And let's also remember this: if we can look up, we can get up, we can get up, we can go up. And the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Yes, Engelbert Humperdinck on the rare earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl.
This is for everybody. The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
You in the driver's seat.
The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution
will be live.
Will be live.
All right. Now, with that being said, you all have a pleasant evening and a pleasant night. Thanks, everybody, for streaming this. Plenty much love to everybody. Stay vigilant, stay cognizant, stay careful, take care of yourself. Watch out for your neighbors. Watch out for your family. Do what you need to do. Remember, we look up, we get up, we get up, we go up. Plenty much love, everybody. Bye-bye.